Okay, guys, adding square roots is a totally different animal here. Okay, now the operation's adding. Well, one thing you don't do the 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can't add 5 and 5 and 20 and 45. That's how you would multiply. You can't do that the same way. Okay, and that's always hard to remember. But if the operation's adding, you can only add things that are alike. Don't write this down, just watch. Okay. So let's think of these 5s as being 5 hot dogs plus 5 turkey sandwiches. That doesn't even make sense, okay? I mean, 5 hot dogs plus 5 hot dogs makes sense because that would be 10 hot dogs. Okay, or 5 turkey sandwiches plus another 5 turkey sandwiches makes sense because that would be 10 turkey sandwiches. But hot dogs and turkey sandwiches, no. So we can't really add these because there's different numbers under the square root. Okay, like it's not the same thing. So this is how you can avoid confusion on adding. Okay, you're going to make this table. Okay. And on one side, you're going to put 5 with the square root of 20. And on the other side, you're going to put 5 with the square root of 45. And then what you do is simplify the two down just once at a time. So I'm not even going to look at the 45, okay? Look at your 20. So look at your 20. Is 20 in the square root bubble? Nope. So we put divided by, okay? And then we start dividing. 20 by 16. That did not work. 20 divided by 9. Remember, no decimals are allowed here. 20 divided by 4. That does work, okay? So what do I do now? Well, the 5 and the outside is just dropped, okay? And then we rewrite that as 2 square roots, 4 and 5. Okay, now again, we always have, don't leave that as 4. You always have to get rid of that because that's equal to 2, okay? Okay, and that allows me to times 5 by 2, which is 10, and put the square root of 5 after the 10. Okay? Now, leave that alone, and now let's go over here. So look at the square root of 45. Is that in the bubble? No, so I need to divide into it. So 45 divided by 36, no. 45 divided by 25, nope. And then 16, nope. And then 9. Yep, I got that to work. Okay, so 9, 5. Okay, so again, we drop the 5, and then I rewrite that as 2 little square roots, and that's 9, 5. Once again, we always have to replace this number here, the 9. Okay, and this is still timesing these two. Okay, so 9 is here, and that would be 3, 3. So it's 3. So again, I'm still timesing those two, though. I'm taking 5 times 3, which is 15, square root 5. Now, here's what you do at this point. What's the same on these? The square root of 5. So write the square root of 5 here. Since they both have square roots of 5, you're going to plus 10 and 15. 10 plus 15. Now you're able to plus those because they have the same identical square root. 10 plus 15 is 25. And that's how you add. Okay. Let's do 3 more. So again, the operation's adding. So 3 square root 8 and 9 square root 50. Okay, so let's check our 8 out. See what we say about that. Okay, so 8, not in the bubble, so I have to divide into it. So I would divide 8 by 4. Now it works. So I drop my first number. Then I rewrite that into 2 square roots. And I replace the 8 with 4 and 2. So the square root of 4 is eliminated because the square root of 4 is equal to 2. Okay, and then I multiply 3 by 2, and that's 6 with its square root of 2. Okay, now 50, is that in the bubble? Nope, it's not. Okay, so again, I divide into the 50 by these, got to be these numbers straight across here. So 50 divided by 49, no. 50 divided by 36, no. Divided by 25, yep, that works. So I drop the 9. I don't even worry about that until I get my 2 little square roots drawn, and I replace it with 25 and 2. So again, the first one gets replaced because you don't keep that as 25. 25 becomes 5, okay? Okay, and that's a 5 I just put above that. Now I can take the 9 times the 5. So 9 times 5, 45. And put square root 2. Now put your plus sign, okay? You write the square root and the 2. You don't add the 2's together, okay? Because that's what's the same. That's what's common to both of them. They're now like terms, okay? But what I do then is I'm able to plus the outsides. So 6 plus 45 is 51. So it'd be 51 square roots of 2. Okay. So basically you break them down so they become the same square root, and you put that square root. You don't add the number of those together. Okay. You add the outsides. Okay. So plus, again, is my operator, so I make this table, and I just simplify them 2 at a time, or 1 at a time. Okay, so 12 is not in the bubble, so divided by, and see what we can divide it by. So 12 divided by 9 decimal, 12 divided by 4, boom, okay. So the 2 needs to be dropped, and I need to rewrite the square root of 12 as 4 and 3. But they need to be under square roots because this square root of 4 has an equal, and that's 2. So 2 times 2 is 4 with the square root of 3. Okay, now right here, 27. It's not in the bubble, so we divide into it. So divide by 25 decimal, 16 decimal, 9. Okay, that works. Okay, so that 3 is dropped, and then we replace that. That would be 9, 3. Okay, so 9, replace that square root of 9 because that is equal to 3. Now, it's a little confusing here because you got 3's across, but we're just timesing those two. That would be 9 square root 3. So when I look at these, I see what do these have in common? The square root of 3. Okay, so we just write what they have in common. Okay, the square root of 3. We don't want to change that because they have that in common. And then we plus the outsides, the 9 and the 4 and the 9, which is 13. Okay, last one. So again, we are adding 8. Again, the operation here is adding. So 8 square root 5 and 7 square root 20. Okay. So again, 5 is not in the bubble, so divided by. Now the first number is 4, so 5 divided by 4 didn't work. I guess divide it by 1 then. Once again, if you get to a point where you divide by 1, this is what you're going to have. I mean, I'll show the rest of the process and rewrite it. 1, 5, but I really don't accomplish much because the square root of 1 just is 1. And multiplying 8 by 1 is 8, so that would be 8 with the square root of 5. So it really doesn't change at all when I divide by 1, but that's the only time it doesn't. Okay, then 7, 20, I don't see 20 here. So divide into that. So 20 by 16, nope. 20 by 9, nope. 20 by 4, yep. Okay. So again, I drop the 7, and then I rewrite the square root of 20 into 2 square roots, okay, using 4 and 5. So the square root of 4 turns into 2. And then I take 7 times 2, which is 14, with the square root of 5. Now, what do we have that's the same? Something's the same here. It better be the number in the square root. So we want to keep what they have in common, okay? You don't add the 5s. What you do then is you plus 18 to 14, which is 22. Okay, that's all I need.